I see, and I believe in the studio it's Ken Newburger, Executive Director, Mississippi Medical not Medical, Marijuana Association. A little eye vision problem this morning. Ken, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Listen, just to give us an update on this one, because is everything on track, and just an overview of where you think the industry is right now as we put all of the structure together and the different aspects from the retail, growing, everything else.
Yeah,
what do you think?
Everything seems to be moving pretty swimmingly. We're still on the 120-day timeline for the Department of Health to get the rules and regulations out. They're working diligently on that. I think they're going to meet all their deadlines. And that means that about 30 days after that, so sometime early July, seeds are going to go in the ground, people are going to start growing. So we're still looking at end of the year by the time patients can actually start purchasing medicine.
I think when we had you on last time, we were asking, where are you getting the seeds, and how is that legally possible? Or is that somewhere in the law itself?
It's not explicitly in law. That's, I think, a solution that every individual business is coming up with their own on. It's not something we're really involved with. But you asked about how the industry is progressing. I mean, you're seeing a lot of businesses really open up. I don't know if you've seen a couple of the different news stories last week. One of our members, Kelly's Green, said that they're opening up. They're going to have 80,000 square feet in Jackson for their facility.
We kind of skipped over this, but technically, would the grower be in violation, state violation, federal violation, by bringing those seeds over the state line?
You know, I'm told that when they're still in seeds, it's still considered hemp, so that wouldn't be violating the law. I'm not sure. I'm not the scientist here, but that would be a way that you're not violating the law at all.
What do you think the initial purchase is to do that? And by the way, do we say in our law that you have to have your own specific cultivars of that?
I'm sorry. I'm a little less versed on my vocabulary. Cultivars?
The different species, the different types.
Yeah. I'm not an agricultural guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's not required. You can get any kind of strain of the plant you need. Mm-hmm.
So whatever you order is what's going to be available in that particular store, or you can buy from different.
Each dispensary can buy from different growers across the state. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So is everything? You said everything is on tap. How many growers do we have in your organization, your association?
We've got about 12 right now of just growers themselves, and they're starting to really put out their build-outs. They're outfitting their buildings or building their buildings. Every business is looking at adding the jobs to the market that they're raising money for.
Some of the biggest ones. You said this one was 60,000 square feet?
80,000 square feet.
80,000 square feet. And this is where?
This is in Jackson.
In Jackson. I think we've had some in Canton. Where else are they? Of the growers
we've got Jackson, Canton, Clinton. A couple of people are looking at Brookhaven and Hattiesburg, or just outside Hattiesburg in Lamar County, all over the state.
Well, climate really doesn't matter because all of this is going to be indoors. Why don't we have anything in the extreme south part, or do you know?
I was told by the people who were looking down there that they're worried about hurricanes. I'm from New Orleans originally, so I totally get why you would be worried about that.
Well, if you got to have a greenhouse, that would be a good argument to make. It's going to be very difficult. Well, that pushes the longevity of anything existing further north, to be honest with you. And of course, Jackson is a good place because of all the governmental affairs and everything else. And are they ordering their supplies and everything it takes? Because there's a multitude of different things that you have to have specific to growing marijuana. Mm-hmm. Are they ordering that from places outside the state?
Some are.
I imagine they are. Yeah.
Some are. I mean, it's a huge supply of materials. So wherever they can get it, with the current supply chain issues, wherever you can get it as soon as possible is what they're doing.
Is anybody thinking about that business in the state to supply these when things break down, et cetera?
For just general parts?
Yeah, general parts and the stuff that you need, from the lighting to the the structure itself.
Yeah, I think some people are. I know one of our members, GrowGen, that's what they do. They supply those kinds of things, lights, soil, anything that you need. As soon as you need it, they can just bus it. And they are looking to locate here in Jackson as well.
everybody, and you said, I guess the key now is just waiting for the Department of Health the Department of Health to pass those guidelines down. What they have to adhere to the law that was passed. So what are you worried about, and what's holding them up? I guess is my question.
With the Department of Health?
Yeah, not the Department of Health, but what type of guidelines are we talking about that's stymieing some of the progress on this?
Yeah, well, a lot of people
What decisions can they not make?
Right.
Until they get these.
Well, a lot of these things like, what kind of cleanliness standards are they going to be requiring? What kind of security standards are they going to be requiring? Those still haven't been answered. So you're seeing a lot of businesses create the skeletons of their facilities, and they're not really putting the muscles in just yet.
How does somebody apply for that to be a grower?
Right now, we don't entirely know the process. That's going to be outlined in the rules and the regs. That's going to be done through the Department of Health.
I'm just going on C Spire text line to ask a couple of questions here. I read somewhere about TVA not supplying electricity to the industry. How will this affect the northeast part of the state?
Well, TVA, works with a lot of smaller power companies across the northern part of the state, and every single little power company that we've talked to is very eager to work with this and put power into these facilities. So I think TVA is just waiting to hear some clarity about what they're supposed to be doing from the federal government, and all of the smaller companies they work with are eager to do this. So I think this is an issue that'll get solved real
I got
fast.
you. The first mulligan of the morning here, but I'm reminded from Stephen in Starkville. I think I did say when I talked about how many barrels or how much gas we get from Russia, I said 650,000 gallons. It's 650,000 barrels. And the Keystone would have produced about 870, I think it is, 870,000 barrels had we had that. As far as the energy supply, too, it's quite consuming. It's probably one of the bigger expenses, is it not?
Yes. So we've talked with Entergy a little bit in this area, and the level of power they need to supply, they said that they only have two clients like that right now, and that's Amazon and Nissan, and they're looking at quadrupling that number through medical cannabis.
Nothing. Solar energy will not help out individually from some of these plants. They're just too big for that.
No, I know a few businesses are looking to supplement some of their power with solar. They just don't know entirely how that's going to work into their business plan because of the incentives getting taken out for medical marijuana companies. Yeah. So they're trying to figure that out. Is
there a price increase across the nation in this industry that's tied to everything else, the inflation, the economy, certainly the gas?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, some of the build-outs that we were seeing people look at last year before the initiative was overturned are 60% of what they're going to be spending now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would imagine also this is not going to put the black market out of business very fast.
Well, until sales start, I think that's unfortunately something that's going. We're trying to help report people who are selling illegally now. But it's just something that we're waiting on patients to get.
Ken Newburger, Executive Director of Mississippi Medical Marijuana Association. Ken, I would think that the same progress report is akin to the retail stores too now, that they're getting all of their acts. Are some of the ones already got their storefronts ready to go, and everything they need to do is just fill the shelves and go?
Yeah, they're working with local businesses, local communities to make sure that they have the right area.
Yeah. All right, hang on, because I want a couple of more questions for Ken. Ken Newburger, Executive Director of Mississippi Marijuana Association. How did Ken Newburger find his way to this position of marijuana in the great state of Mississippi with the head of the association?
Well, I guess it's a short-ish story.
Yeah.
I've been between Jackson and New Orleans my whole life, thanks to Katrina, and then I went to college here. And after college, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I got connected with Representative Joel Baumgar, who a lot of people know was instrumental in pushing the campaign forward. I ran his reelection, and then when I found out that they needed a campaign manager, moved over to the campaign. After the campaign was over, a couple of the businesses that I've talked about today, they said, we really need an association. I said, well, I would love to be the executive director if y'all would have me. And I've been running it ever since. So really, that's how.
Glad you told me that. I mean, I actually had a lawmaker on the air said Joel Baumgart had absolutely nothing to do with pushing marijuana. And you can lose credibility pretty fast, but that was at light speed for me.
Yeah.
Is he going to? In what facet is he now going to be involved as far as the industry itself?
He's not. He's moved on completely. He and I are good friends, so we catch up pretty often. He's moved on from possibly being in this industry.
Oh, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
For sure. As far as you know.
As far as I know. I mean, I don't know what the good Lord is going to bring us tomorrow, but as far as I know.
We talked about getting the seeds in and everything else. Take it from there, because it takes, my understanding, about 4 or 5 months, maybe up to 6 months for these to get to the harvest size, does it not?
That's right. It takes somewhere between 4 and 6 months to get through a full grow cycle, and then dry the product, possibly recreate it into something else if you're going to process and extract it, and then to get it tested. You're probably looking about 4 to 6 months after seeds go into the ground before. Is our
December date that you said, is that being a little rosy or optimistic?
It is. I mean, I think if not by December, then by January of next year. But I'm really hopeful. I've got some people that think that we're going to be doing this in October. I'm not that optimistic. That's why I say December.
Well, even if the law allowed it in Mississippi that we could get the initial inventory to open the pot stores a little bit early, other states have basically the same type of laws that we do, that you can't export it out of state.
Correct.
So that wouldn't be a possibility one way or the other.
You mean buying finished product from other states?
No,
you cannot
buy it from some company elsewhere.
And anybody who's selling now is selling illegally.
Yeah. So what else do we need to know on this one as far as the status here?
Well, there are two groups we haven't really talked about, which are patients and certifiers.
Very true.
Yes. So certifiers, it should be relatively simple for them as long as they get their credits. Those credits, continuing education credits, haven't been defined by the Department of Health, but they plan to have those a little earlier than the 120-day deadline, so that way they can start getting those certifiers up to speed. And then as soon as a patient can interact with a certifier they have a bona fide relationship with, who has also done the education required to certify, they can start getting cards.
Are you guys satisfied as far as the association is concerned? Which how many members do you have now?
We've got about 32.
Are you satisfied where the bill ended up as far as the number of ailments, diseases, or sicknesses that you that will qualify you for a medical marijuana card?
Yes. We were asking for the same number as Initiative 65 had. They increased that a little bit. I can't remember. There were 2 extra ones that got added. I can't remember which ones they are. But with at least the same from Initiative 65, we're happy.
Just on a personal basis, how do you think this is going to affect? Because the initiative process has not been solved yet. We're hoping that before the end of the session it will be. There's some people who said maybe we'd have to delay that to a special session or maybe even next year, which is going to make some people angry. Mm-hmm. Do you think those folks who wanted recreational marijuana are placated now, that's fine, and they're not going to be that much of a force? Or do you think they're still out there and are going to demand an initiative process?
Well, I don't get on Facebook too often, but when I do, I'm pretty sure they're still out there, if you've seen some of the stuff that people post.
Yes.
But I don't think it's going to get pushed to a special session. I think that they've moved it along in both chambers now that it looks like it's going to conference, I think. And that's something we really care about with our association, just because that's how we got here. And we don't want that to get taken away from people. I do like the direction it's been heading, away from a constitutional protection. Yeah. So I think it's going to get passed this year.
I asked you that, and it was a good and honest answer, too. But I asked you that simply because we've had some legislators and others say, it's placated now. They'll go away. They don't really care about that. And I thought, I'm not sure exactly what social media they're watching or reading, but no, they are still there in force. Yeah. So anything else you want to mention, sir?
No, I just think that, when you look at some of the businesses that I represent that have been in for a while, like I mentioned early, Kelly's Green, started by Ms. Kelly Williams, who was the first donor to Initiative 65. It's really a bunch of people that are happy to have this realized because of their fight that they've been doing for so long.
Did I see on Friday that the city of Madison has opted out and Do you know where the opt-out list, or is there a list to view on your site or anywhere else?
We might put something like that together. We're more interested in finding places where they're very open to do business, like the city of Jackson or the city of Meridian.
I know you want an opt-in, but it would be nice to see the opt-out.
Right.
It was probably going to be a shorter list.
Of opt-outs, it's going to be a much shorter list, I think. Obviously, last week, Ridgeland opted out. Pass Christian, they opted out, but they said, look, we want to opt back in. We just want to learn a little bit more about the industry.
Well, but that's true for anybody, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know a couple other municipalities are considering it right now. But I think it's a real discussion. I've had a couple discussions explaining, hey, here's what you can and can't do zoning-wise. And once they realize that they can zone a lot of these businesses like normal businesses, municipalities start to say, oh, okay, well, that sounds like a good economic development thing for us.
Yeah. Ken, any counties have opted out as far as you know?
No.
That's going to be kind of difficult to do that. But it would only, let's just say if Madison County or any other county opted out, it would not preclude the city itself, the municipality, from staying in or opting in.
That's correct.
So it just means when you get out of the city limits in that particular county, you could not
purchase.
You couldn't purchase nor grow it.
Right.
Well, you could purchase it, though, couldn't you?
Yeah, you just have to go to a place where they sell it.
Well,
you can bring it back.
mean, if you had it and purchased it somewhere else, it's not illegal to have it as a medical marijuana card holder in the county and not in the
you
city.
can't opt out of patients. You can only opt out of businesses.
Yeah. What do we do as far as the medical part of this? Because that's going to be another big structure that has, and I guess that's one of the other things you cannot answer until the Mississippi Department of Health acts. But as far as who's going to be selling this, what the list is, will we know which doctors will do this, or will they even make it known?
I don't think there's a public registry of doctors. I know there will be a public registry of businesses, but I think doctors, it's much more of an individual basis to keep it between the patient and the physician.
I'm sure, but the other part of that is this is in the law itself says we cannot have doctors out of state. Or does it? I think it basically says they can be out of state, but they have to have an in-state visit or something.
That's right. So if you live in Memphis, but you practice medicine in Mississippi, and you're in South Haven, seeing a South Haven resident, you can certify them, but you have to be licensed in the state of Mississippi and inside the state of Mississippi, physically meeting the patient.
And that license has to come through the Mississippi Department of Health,
That's right? That's Board of Medical Licensure.
Board of Medical Licensure, that's it. Ken, always good talking to you, sir. Appreciate it very, very much. You have you've handled this job and a very touchy subject in a most let me see how I put this, gentleman way. And
Thank
I appreciate it, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll take that as a compliment.
You, Ken, and it was meant to be.
Thank you.
Ken Newburger, Executive Director, Mississippi Medical